Hello and welcome back. My name is Andrea and I'm an older mom who decided at 40 to have my first baby, and now I'm gonna have my second at 43. I am currently 23 weeks pregnant and very excited to bring my second baby girl into this world. I went from being a career focused go getter, only thinking about really the next milestone I was gonna achieve, trying to be a good partner in my relationship, and then also just trying to meet my personal goals. And then I went from focused on career to then deciding to be a stay at home mom. And today I just want to take you a little bit on that journey and my thought process of how I went from choosing like I'm never going to have kids to, you know, I think I'm ready to have a child and be the best mom that I can be. So, let me tell you where I started. I have always been an ambitious person and a disciplined person. So when I was younger and deciding to go to college, I knew I was going to go to college, get a degree in exercise science because I was going to open a gym. And I was going to help people achieve their best fitness selves. And I was going to run it, and I was going to have a staff, and I was going to be successful, and this was going to be my dream. Well, that dream got interrupted in the middle of college, right around my junior year, when I discovered physical therapy. And it was like, finally, my calling had come to me. I knew at that moment that I didn't want to open a gym. I didn't want to be a personal trainer. I wanted to be a physical therapist. I didn't want to help people get more fit. What I wanted to do was give people back their lives. And what better way to do that than to show them and help be there for them as they're going through a difficult time, being unable to move in the way that I know that they can, and then taking them from where they are to where they can be and helping them achieve their goals. So, in my junior year of college, I decided that I no longer was going to be taking it as easy as I had, and I added chemistry and physics and statistics and biology and all of the really hard classes. So from my junior year on, and I certainly added a year to my undergraduate journey, I buckled down and I studied because the sciences were not easy for me. But what I do have going for me is the ability to stay focused and to stay disciplined. So I got through it. From there, I got into physical therapy school. That was fantastic. Graduated with my doctorate in physical therapy, and then went to work for an amazing company in the Pacific Northwest. I love them. I started practicing in 2009, and long story short, I knew I wanted to open a clinic, and I was either going to open a clinic with this company or without this company. So my tech and I, in our spare time, put together a full business plan with a pro forma. And if you don't know what a pro forma is, it's kind of a way of estimating how much debt you're going to start a company with or your business with, and then how long and what you're going to do to become profitable. So we estimated, that if we did all the right things, we could be profitable in about a year. And we figured out where we wanted to be. We figured out an equipment list. We put together a whole notebook with the idea that if the company I was with didn't want to open a clinic with me, then we could take it to the bank and get a business loan. From there, we gave the notebook to my CEO during our lunch break, which I remember this feeling distinctly. I thought, oh my gosh, I either just lost my job or I just got a clinic with this company. And my poor CEO was not prepared, because here we come in, kind of just seeing if he had a couple minutes to spare for us, put this notebook on his desk, say we want to open a clinic, and everything was in it, from partnership percentages. I mean, we tried to think of absolutely everything, and it was separated out into different categories. So anyway, long story short, about 9 months later, my clinic opened, and it was such an amazing achievement at the time. So now I was a clinic owner, I was a business partner in this business, and I had me and my tech. So there's a staff of 2. And my job was to take this teeny tiny clinic that we that we painted ourselves, on the weekends, getting everything prepared. So I'm still working at my old clinic, painting the walls of my new clinic. My husband, my new business partner, my CEO even would come in and helping us pull in what we needed to for the bare bones equipment that we needed to start this clinic. And that clinic grew from 2 to 10, a staff of 10. And we went from seeing, essentially 0 patients at the beginning, but I could say probably comfortably, 100 and 200 patients a month, to, at our height, when I was there, I think we saw 815 patients per month. And I was working so hard and so many hours and being involved in the community and doing everything that it took to make this clinic grow. And it was such a high and amazing. Also, during this time, now I had no doubt in my mind that I was never going to have kids. I had told my parents, I had told my husband, I had told our counselor, like, I was never going to have kids. And one of the things that my husband and I explored together, because we did, and I recommend this to everybody, is we did premarital counseling, and then we just continued premarital counseling for like the first 6 of our years of our marriage. It was the best money ever spent. We really explored some things together and learned how to communicate, and we got through some serious rough patches, but we got through it together. And I cannot give enough credit to I would say our teacher that got us through all of that. And now we are a rock solid couple, and I couldn't be more grateful than to have the partner that I have. I am so lucky, and he is such a wonderful, wonderful man. And while we were going through that counseling, we actually did explore the idea of having children. And when we were exploring that, I kept coming up with that I was too motivated career-wise. I had too many things I wanted to achieve. I spent far too many hours at work, and I didn't have the personal bandwidth or energy to devote to having a child. I wasn't the person. I thought of myself as being disqualified, and this is not a negative thing. I just did not qualify myself into being a parent, because in my mind, to be an effective parent, you needed to have patience and bandwidth and curiosity, and you had to want kids. I never wanted to have kids. I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it. I wanted to stay out late. I wanted to sleep in. And it wasn't that I was a crazy party person. Not even. I was really focused on my career. I was actually very disciplined. But I knew that the things that I wanted to achieve took up so much of my time that to bring a child into the mix for me didn't feel fair. In evaluating myself and my own readiness and my own capability for having kids, I just thought to myself that if I ever wanted to have a kid, I wanted to have enough time, effort, and energy to put into them, to give them what I felt like they deserved. And I just wasn't that person. I liked kids. I liked other people's kids a lot, actually. I loved playing with my nieces. But when it came to myself, I just knew that I wasn't going to do the things that were required to be the mom that I wanted to be. Now, in my journey of exploring whether or not to be a mom at the time, in my late 20s and early 30s, I knew that I only had so much bandwidth and capacity. I could give 100% of myself to work and to my patients and to my staff and to my company and to my husband and love that. Or I could put 100% of myself into trying to be the best mom I could. But I am not one of those people that has the ability or capacity to balance it out, to do both. Now, I know a lot of moms that can and do and pull it off, and they're incredible. And I am just not one of them. I can do one thing well at a time, and I can put my focus on one thing at a time. And I just knew that wasn't that just wasn't where I was. So I continued working and building and growing this clinic, and it was so amazing. And then it became too much. I was working myself into this, I guess I would say, a corner, right? Because when you're in full-time patient care and full-time directing, and you're a business owner, and you're a partner, and you're trying to be a strong community member, you're never not working. So I found myself putting in a ton of hours. And eventually my goal was to work myself into such a position that I could either pull back from patient care or start trying to rebalance my life in some way. And unfortunately, I did such a good job that I really backed myself into a corner that way. So I couldn't pull back from patient care, and it's not that patient care isn't wonderful, but doing that full time in addition to all the other things, it just takes a lot from a person. And anybody out there that has done any sort of either patient care or body work or anything like that, you know that you actually have to give a part of yourself to your clients to connect. It's this delicate balance of giving of yourself and being personal, but not so personal that they don't feel like your focus isn't on 100% them. Like, your clients need to feel like your focus is on them, not that you're there to use them to get your own cup filled. Like, it's really important when you're in these helping professions that you are filling your own cup in ways outside of the care that you're giving. Otherwise, you will inadvertently use your clients to fill your own cup, and that's not good, and that's not a tangent I meant to go down. So anyway, long story short, I ended up getting really burnt out, and I needed something else. And so I ended up selling my partnership shares. I ended up selling the clinic. I ended up leaving my practice, and I left it to somebody who is so capable, and I'm so glad that they're still running it. And I actually tried a career change. I went from physical therapy to financial advising, and I actually found it was very similar in that it was business building, it was learning, it was networking, it was very similar to patient care, except I just touched people a lot less and I dressed up a lot more. However, changing careers wasn't the thing that I needed. I didn't need to go from one thing that took my time, effort, and energy in this capacity and just move it to another. Although it was a shift and it was fun and I enjoyed it and I did enjoy some success there, it wasn't what was beckoning me. And then my husband and I, when I was finally 39 years old, sat down and we started talking about, well, what is it that we want our next 20, 30, 40 years to look like? And we realized that we were finally in a place where our finances were where we wanted them. I had achieved the things that I really wanted to achieve personally and professionally. He had achieved the things that he really wanted to. I mean, he's not done, but we had both gotten to a certain point where we felt like, hey, we have enough time, effort, and energy that if we wanted to try to become parents, this would be the time to do it. And it was in that moment, I remember when I was 39, our hearts just opened up and we were just in alignment, and we decided, you know what, let's do this. And we got pregnant. I am extremely lucky because it was not too difficult for us. And I know that is challenging because when you're 39, there are real reasons why fertility can be challenging, and we were just extremely lucky. So we got pregnant naturally. We didn't need any interventions. And as I progressed through my pregnancy, which I was very lucky, a super comfortable pregnancy overall, I was convinced that I would go back to work. At least on a part-time basis, because I've never not worked. I mean, and that's what you do, right? You have a kid, you figure it out, and you go back to work because that's what you do. You go back to work because you work, because that's what you're supposed to do. At least that's what I always, kind of felt, but it didn't resonate with me. And so I interviewed some of my mom friends and asked them how they felt about either being a stay-at-home mom or a working mom. And I read a book called The Nurture Revolution, which very much influenced me in my thought process. I also listened to a few podcasts with a psychologist named Erica Comazar, who I found very influential. She's controversial, but I found the things that she said uncomfortable, but also real and that I had to digest them. And I did actually initially try to go back to work, and I delivered my daughter in October and went back to work, I want to say in January, and ended up leaving in February because trying to work and be there for my daughter just wasn't working for me. And I already knew that from way earlier. Like, I only have so much bandwidth. I can focus on one thing at a time. And so I then ended up leaving my job, and I am now a stay-at-home mom. And it is the best decision I have ever made. It's not an easy decision. It's not an easy decision. It's a decision that I make every day because I do miss working, and I do miss my professional self, and I do miss feeling those achievements and getting, recognition for work that I've done. I also miss the social aspect of it. Like, there's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot of shifting that happens when you move from a intense working career in focus to stay at home. But that was my journey. Is I thought I would never have kids. My heart opened up when I was finally ready. And so now here I am, and 23 weeks pregnant with my second baby. We couldn't be more thrilled, and so the journey continues. I would love to hear your guys' journeys. If you ever went from thinking you would never have kids to deciding to, if you are child-free by choice and you absolutely love it, if you knew from the very beginning, oh, yep, I'm definitely having kids at this age and this time. Some people just know their life path. So anyway, thanks for listening. Have a good one. Bye.